Alrighty guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm gonna do a little bit of a different video today. This one's a little bit geared towards the golf nerds out there. This is a very, very simple way that a lot of you can lower your scores at home. I'm gonna talk about course management. I'm gonna talk through shot shapes, why I picked certain shot shapes on different holes. I'm gonna talk through the clubs that I hit, why I'm gonna hit those, and I'm also gonna compare what I would do in a casual round with my mates versus how I would approach that differently based on tournament conditions. So gear up, we're here at Toscana Golf and Country Club in Indian Wells in August. So it's bloody hot and the course is a tiny bit burnt out, so be a little weary of that. But we're gonna go through the back nine here and see if you can learn anything. All right, so we're on the 10th hole here. It's a 560 yard par 5. I've got bunkers up the left that I can reach. They're about 270 yards. And I got a bunker on the right that's not in play. So in this case here, I like to work the ball away from the trouble. So I'm gonna be starting it at that bunker and I'm gonna try and cut it back into the fairway. That's just my preference. Some people like starting it away from the trouble. I like starting it at it and moving it away. Good start. All right, so kind of whiff that drive, like little bottom of the face, like kind of a whatever shot. But we're here, went like 290 yards in the middle of the fairway. I've now got a second shot into a par 5 that I can go for. So this is really interesting. Bunkers all the way up the right, and there's kind of a runway up the left. So once again, you gotta think of the lie too. I've got a hanging lie, so it's gonna be hard to draw. So I'm gonna go with the slope, hit a fade, hopefully up the green. I got 3 wood too, so I got 271 yards. So I'm gonna try and peel this 3 wood in there. That was phenomenal, if I don't say so myself. But I think the most important part to take from that is I think like that's tip 1 for amateurs, especially on the course. Don't go against the slope. Read the slope that you're on. That was on a really hard left to right slope there. I'm always gonna hit a fade, or 95% of the time gonna hit a fade in that scenario, as long as I don't have something in the way. It's super important because it's very hard to go against it. So I'm gonna say that's tip number 1 for the day. Always use the slope. I know this shirt looks pretty big today, but I think that's how it's supposed to fit. At least I think. All right, that was kind of a sick 3 wood. I'm not gonna lie. We're in a great spot now. I got like, I don't know, 16 feet for eagle. I mean, in terms of green reading, I think the most important thing, like amateur-wise, when it comes to reading a green is, the most important part I think is reading the uphill, downhill, more than anything. I think unless you're a really good player, you're trying to hole all your putts, 2-putt everything, you're gonna be in a really, really good spot. 2-putting always starts with speed. So always look kind of this side, which is kind of perpendicular to your putt. Make sure that you know if it's uphill, downhill, and adjust your speed accordingly. That would have been a nice way to start. That's how you play the 10th hole. All right, so I'm using the Grint app here, which is an app that I use for like scores, stats, obviously GPS feature as well. But it'll be good to show you guys kind of what I'm talking about here. So this is the 11th hole here at Toscana, 447 yards. I want to keep it left of these bunkers. That's the most important. I can cover this bunker, but I cannot cover these bunkers. So the most important part is to keep it left here. Now, I told you guys on hole 10 that I like to shape it away from the trouble, but with driver, depending on how I'm feeling, I am often more comfortable with a fade. So I think in this scenario, I actually am gonna go against what I said on 10 and shape it a little left to right. So that's good to see, but it's also really important on that's part of course management in itself, is, okay, I think the right shot here is a draw, but the shot I'm more comfortable with today is a fade, and so that's what we go with. I think that's ultimately, you can't get too caught up in the right shot that it's like, oh, I'm not feeling that, and I pick a shot that I don't like. So tip number 2, I think, pick a shot you're comfortable with, always, number 1 priority. All right, so I just kind of showed you the overview there. You saw kind of the layout of the hole. Now I'm gonna play it. Once again, like I said, today my swing's feeling a little whatever, so I'm gonna go with the fade. I feel more comfortable with that shot. So I'm gonna start out the left, move it back into the center. Just like that. And I think the important part is that you're picking shots that are going to give you, 1, the best chance of execution, but 2, the best chance that a bad shot is still okay. So in that scenario, like my miss with like trying to hit a draw with driver is right, so it would probably go in those bunkers. That's why I chose a fade there, is that my miss with that shot right now isn't the correct miss. So that's kind of what I was thinking. Alrighty. Good drive, really good drive. I don't know how far it went, probably 300, 305. Now when I'm making this video too, like, I know I practice a lot, I hit it far, I hit it quite straight, but all these like rules that I'm talking about can apply to any level golfer. It's not just good players. So like, just because I'm hitting it well or something like that doesn't think this doesn't apply to you, okay? All right, so we have 141 yards. This, for me at least, unless I was playing a very like firm golf course or like a US Open setup, this is just a green light pin. Pin sitting there on the front. I have 145 yards with a pitching wedge. I'm not thinking too much here. I got eyes for the pin, pin only, and we're going straight at it. So that's all there is to this one. Money, really close, which was a good shot. I might be not giving myself enough credit. I feel like my swing doesn't actually feel very good today, but so far, I haven't really missed a shot, so I don't know. Nice little pitching wedge in here to like 8 or 9 feet. From a course management point of view, the only thing I would say when it comes to like green reading, putting in general, things like that, is I just want you to have a look here. And this really only applies when you're playing Bermuda, but you can kind of see how this side of the edge of the hole is burnt out compared to the other side. And that is the direction that the grain of the grass is going. And so that's important to look at if you're playing in hot weather places, Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, kind of tropical environments that have Bermuda grass, is it helps you read the putt, because generally grain will grow downhill, which means the break will break towards that grain. So just a little note there to keep on top of if you want to. Don't have to, you can just miss putts instead if you want. Two under through 2. God, I need to take my own advice sometimes, I guess. All right, birdie start, it's not bad. All right, here we have a tricky little hole. We have 178 yards, it's playing 170, it's downhill. That pin's tucked up against the water there. So this is one that's gonna be very different for me in a tournament to like a casual round like today. So a tournament, I'm gonna have fast greens, I'm gonna have very thick rough, I'm gonna have quite firm greens. Probably the banks are gonna be shaved too. So the penalty for missing this shot would be quite severe. So I would 100% be playing away from the pin towards that middle part of the green, and I would probably hit a bigger club and kind of smooth it in there to kind of keep that ball flight nice and straight and under control. Now today is a little different. I'm just playing a casual round. I'm trying to test myself a little bit. I'm trying to be as aggressive as possible. So I'm actually gonna take a little less club. I'm gonna try and work the shape into that flag a little bit. But like I said, 2 different strategies depending on conditions and depending on what I'm doing. Now if you're an amateur too and you have like a really tough pin, like this one, how I would suggest someone plays it is a big shape. I think people get so caught up and like scared of a pin like this that they get really like, okay, I'm just gonna aim at that bunker and hit it straight. What I would suggest for an amateur at home or someone who doesn't maybe have all the shots, pick a shot, draw, hook, fade, slice, whatever you have. Aim way on that side, give yourself the room to move that ball into it. Like my boy Mac Boucher, he does it for fun, but do it on purpose. Start it really wide, give yourself a lot of room to hit that slice into. Don't be scared to aim right if you're a hooker of the ball, and give yourself room to hit that hook into. I think a lot of people just get a little too straight sometimes. Where that ended up. I basically just didn't cut it. I wanted to cut it towards the pin. And that's kind of the problem with like going after a club hard like that for me, is if I pull it, it's too far on that line. Please, if you're an amateur, just stop chipping these. Stop chipping from anywhere that's like reasonably puttable from off the green. I promise you, you're better with the putter. I don't care. You're probably gonna be in the comments, oh, I'm better with a wedge, I'm a good chipper. You're not as good of a chipper as you are a putter, trust me, from off the green. So give yourself the chance, like if you have to chip it of course. Rough, bunkers, over something. If you have nothing in the way, just putt it. It's easy. All right, so I'm putting it. After all that. I got like probably 40, 45 feet for birdie. Just good speed here. It's always important, these long putts, it's speed more than anything. Good speed, terrible line. It's like a 4-footer for par, kind of uphill. Pretty basic, I think. Just hit it there nice and firm in the middle. Barely, but we got away with it. 2 under through 3 so far. So good. Let's keep going. All right, so I'm back on the Grint app here. I think this will be a really easy way to show you guys the 13th hole here at Toscana. So on we have a short par 4, 370 yards. So I can hit my driver maybe when I go after it 330 yards. So I can get pretty close to the green. It's important on holes like this, any hole in general, but especially on short par 4s, you work backwards from the green. So I want to check where the pin is first to see by hitting driver if being 30, 40 yards out is actually beneficial or if it gives me a very awkward shot. Now, I know statistically the closer you are to the green, the better it is, the easier it is to score, all that sort of stuff. I get it. But there is some strategy involved when it comes to holes like this. So when I'm looking at the pin here, first of all, the pin's front left. So I've got very little green to work with there. So that's point number 1. I'm going to play this hole more like the conditions are firm and fast and what I would do. So my kind of first point of call here is, okay, then where do I want to hit the tee shot? And if I kind of look at the map here, I've got this area just under the bunkers here that'll be exactly where I'm trying to hit it. It's about there, and that says it's 230 yards. So kind of the options that I would have here would be to hit it left here. I could hit it right of the bunkers. I hate this spot. I think it's terrible to hit it in this area because I think you've brought in more trouble to only be a tiny bit closer. So for my money, it's either I'm going to hit it 230, 235 off the tee, or I'm going to send driver and give myself 30 or 40 yards. Now, if I'm playing this safely, it's a 3-iron out to the left, give myself maybe a 52-degree in, and that's a very easy, stress-free way to play this hole. Now, I know I've rambled on a little bit, but something just came to me that this is how I've thought about golf holes, and I think it's super important, is I think on every hole, there's going to be stress on one of your shots. You get to pick what shot that is though. So for instance here, if I hit driver, I bring in water off the tee, I bring in a little bit of OB left. That's my stressful shot. Now I have an easy pitch. I could take the stress off the tee shot though, and I could hit a 3-iron into a super wide part of the fairway, no water in play, it's all chill, but now I have stress on the second shot because now I've got to deal with water on the second shot from a longer approach. So it's basically, that's how I think of every golf hole. One of these shots is going to have stress. Which one do I want it to be? Some days it's the tee shot, some days it's the approach shot. I think it's important that you differentiate and you pick that for yourself. So on the back of that combo in the cart just then, I'm going to go with driver. So I'm taking my stress on the tee shot. I've hit a couple good drives, suits my fade shape. So we're going to hit driver. I'm going to try and start it basically just right of that bunker on the left, hit a little fade, be in the fairway, should leave me a little pitch in. I didn't hit that very good. Once again, like little bottom of the face and stuff, but it's right down the middle, so can't complain. That should leave us a little pitch shot in. Once again, on a hole like this, whatever you're comfortable with. I like driver. I would not knock someone for hitting an iron up there either, if that was their decision. So there's certainly options when it comes to course management. For me today, it's driver. Okay, I've hit a good drive. Like I said, kind of bottomed it, so we're not quite as close as I thought. I got 62 yards here to a front pin. There's just a little slope left of this green, like a false side. So the only thing I got to worry about here is just missing it too far left. Other than that, it's 62 yards. Don't overthink it. Just hit it at the pin. That's about it. Something like that. Damn, I'm playing pretty good today. Like, I kind of didn't mean for the course management video to be like, how low can I go kind of video, but I guess 2 and 1. 2 and 1 for you guys today. We're here about 4 feet again for another birdie, which is great. If you look at the grain on the hole there, it's going down grain. So when it's down grain, it just means the putt's going to be a little faster. And I think one important point to note is don't go hitting some putts like, oh, I'm going to take the break out and hit this hard and I'm going to let this one die. The more you can hit your putts the same speed, so like if you decide that's a foot past the hole, try and hit all your putts a foot past the hole. It makes reading the greens way easier because one element of reading greens is speed, and if you can keep that consistent, it makes your life much easier. So for me, I always like to hit it, yeah, just about a foot, 9 to 12 inches past the hole. There we go. Being a little aggressive off the tee there for me, taking on the risk on the tee, then paid off by giving myself an easier second shot. Would have been different with a slightly different pin or firmer conditions, but that's what I wanted to do today and it worked out. So let's go, 3 under. All right, so we're on the 14th now. This is actually really interesting because this is a drivable par 4. We have 330 yards to the middle, only about 310, 305 yards to the front. Tons of options, right? So I can hit it up here. I can take almost all the trouble out of play and hit it 245 yards. To today's pin, which is front right, it's gonna leave me probably 75 yards. So that's one option. I can try and go for the green up here, and that bunker will probably be 301 yards to the front, 326 over the back. Now the problem with that strategy is this area that's kind of long right, as you can see kind of where that 31 yards is or where that 325 yards is. That's a big bowl that goes down and away from the green. So that's gonna leave an extremely hard pitch shot. So if I'm gonna go for the green, I have to know that that's the risk. That's gonna be a very hard spot to get up and down from. But if I'm able to hit the green, it's a gimme birdie. So this one, I think statistically, if you're able to get it up near the green, I think 100% of the time, the option is to go up near the green. Now, if you cannot get to the green, completely different conversation. We're laying up to the right, making this hole as easy as possible. You do not want to leave yourself like a 50, 60 yard bunker shot. In my case, if I hit a good shot, I will get to the green, so we're gonna send it. So I'm gonna hit driver, I'm gonna go for it, try and get myself either on the green or something around it, get up and down. not sure if that's gone in that bowl that I was speaking about that's hard to get up and down, or if it's just like up next to the green. So I guess we'll find out when we get up there. All right, so this is the spot that I spoke about that's brutal. So that's part of the risk going for this green. That's part of like core strategy is like, if I'm gonna play aggressive, if I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna take on more risk, and now I'm in a really hard spot to get up and down. I'm on a down slope, I've got a big up slope, and then it goes away from me. I've got no green to work with. So I can't flop it, so I'm gonna have to go low. Yeah, so for me here, I'm probably gonna use, I'm not sure yet, but probably 56 or 52. Land it somewhere in here, kind of get it rolling. Hopefully this longer grass slows it up a little bit, and I can kind of judge that pace on the green. From a course management perspective here, the only thing you cannot do is leave it here. Make sure that your error is you've hit it too hard, you're on the other side. You'll then have green to work with, an uphill shot. You've got way more chance of getting that up and down than having to re-hit this shot. So never leave yourself in a spot that you're gonna have to replay that same shot. All right, so I got 56 here. I'm just gonna put it back in my stance, handle up a little bit, just chase it up that hill. I did exactly what I told you not to do. I got a little too cute, left it short. I mean, it's fine. I got a birdie putt. I think it just either crept on or is on the fringe. Don't get that cute, please. Hit it too hard. Leave it at the other side. Give yourself a chance. I play here a lot. It's my home course. I can get away with little things like that. I got like 16, 17 feet here. Pretty basic putt. It's downhill. Once again, the grain is going away from me, which shows me that it's a downhill putt. So if the greens were a little quicker, I'd be wary of pace, but they're quite slow right now, so I don't need to worry too much about that. And that's about it. Like I said, I just crept on the green here. Not what I planned to do, not the right shot, but we got away with it. Having one of those days at the moment, dude. Holy shit. Just do what I'm saying and doing, I guess. All right, so now we're on the 15th hole, 576 yards to the middle. So this is a tough tee shot. OB right, OB left. I know that freaks a lot of you at home out. So hear me out here. When there's OB left and OB right, especially on a par 5, do the smart thing. Hitting a shot out of bounds here is gonna cost you way more than hitting a 4-iron off the tee and just poking it down there and play, even if it's a couple hundred yards, right? So pick the right shot. Like I said a hole ago, you're gonna have stress on one of these shots. It doesn't need to be on the tee shot. Most of you are not getting to a 570 yard par 5 and 2, so just lay back. It's all good. I would do that too if there was like an uncomfortable wind or something like that. I'm not afraid to lay way back. Now saying all that, I'm gonna hit drive. I'm driving it well today. So as you can see on this map here, I have about 265 yards over that left bunker. I've got about 300 yards into the right bunker. I won't be able to carry that right bunker. So for me, I'm just gonna tee it down a little bit. It's a shot that I have as a little bit more of a fairway finder. So I'm gonna tee it down, kind of flight it down, hopefully just hit a very straight shot left to that bunker. That's personally how I try and handle these trickier tee shots. If I do that correctly, I'm going to have probably about 280 yards, which would be great. Still probably favoring that fade a little bit, just because that seems to be working for me today. So I'll probably still just favor that shot, tee it just a fraction further down, probably bring the flight down just a little bit. Pushed it a bit. Could be in that bunker, but it also could be just short of it. Need to get a little lucky. Wasn't my best there. Bit late and under it. Later than a Spirit flight, you know? Yeah, it's like 290. All right, kind of a weak shot out to the right, but that's kind of the purpose of that little fairway finder shot that I hit, is like Yeah, I didn't hit it very nice. I hit it short. It probably only went 290, but we're here in the fairway, which is good. This next shot has really very little course management to it at all. I've got 290 yards, I got a 3-wood, I'm going for it. There's not tons of trouble up there, so I'm kind of just gonna rip it and hope for the best. That does work sometimes. Don't do that all the time, but sometimes it's actually the play. Oh, a little outright again, but it should be fine, I think. Kind of the same shot I hit off the tee, like yuck and right and disgusting. So like I said, I leaked it out right. I'm in this bunker, Greenside. It's actually not a bad spot, but it is the middle of summer, so the bunkers tend to be like quite compact and a little wavy. So I actually have a bit of a weird lie, like I'm stuck in between some ridges. So it's going to be more of a fat shot that I try and run out to the hole, as opposed to like some high floaty kind of bunker shot. So to play these, I try and feel like a little draw, so I just change my path a little right to left. I'm going to try and just land it on and let it roll out there. Nah, way too hard. So there wasn't really much sand there. I didn't think there would be much sand, but there was actually a little less than I thought. Swung way too hard, ball went too far. Very average, Ryan, very, very average. Not my best effort at all. Left myself like 16, 17 feet again. Kind of uphill then downhill putt, pretty tricky. Would love to hole this to get to 5 under. But yeah, that's about all I've got for you. A little bit left to right, hit a good putt, hope for the best. That's a pretty silly par, but is what it is. We're still 4 under, we'll take it. 16th hole, 410 yards. Another interesting kind of hole. For most people, you're gonna have to go out to the right over here. Yeah, just the nature of this hole, that's kind of your spot. Anywhere kind of from like 260 down to, I mean, maybe up to 295, kind of short on that right side. I actually should be able to carry these bunkers. So as you can see, it's 301 a bit past these bunkers. Probably 290 over the top. So that's where I'm gonna try and go, which should leave me about 100 yards in. And one thing too, I think that's really important, there's not much wind out here today, but I wanna touch on it on this video. Check which way the wind's blowing on a forecast, Weather Channel app, your weather app, just that iPhone makes, any app, check which way the wind's going that day. And then have a little compass. Your iPhone compass works, like a stock standard compass like this, and check where that matches. Point down the hole, check where the wind's coming from. Everybody talks about swirling wind here, like on the ground. Oh, I feel it's swirling right now, it's swirling the trees. Wind doesn't swirl when you get up in the air. Wind swirls on the ground, but not up in the air. So most likely where your ball's gonna go will get affected by the wind consistently throughout the day. So check the wind map, it's super important. I check it every single hole I play, every single shot I play of every round that I play. Wind doesn't swirl as much as you think. Check it out up top, check it on your app. Yeah, I think this one for me is like a ripped fade. Like, so I'm starting it at those pimple bunkers on the left, a little forward of my stance, and I'm just gonna rip it. That seems like the shot that works for me today. That's what we're going with. Let's see if we can't birdie these last 3. So I towed it, and it's in the left rough, kind of left trees. That's a little sloppy for me. That's me getting complacent. I just tried to swing out of my shoes. That bunker's out of play for me. I should have just stayed. Good tempo, hit my cut that I know works. got a little greedy. It's still gonna be okay. This is the nature of this hole. It's fine over there. But yeah, that was lazy. All right, like I said, lazy. Hit it way out here left. I've now got some tree trouble, but we're in Palm Springs. Not that penalizing off the tee, so we're okay. I got 113 yards. I just got to keep it under these palm trees, but above this hill. Other than that, it's not actually that tricky, so let's see what we can do. All right, so it's not a bad shot from out of position. I felt like off the club, I didn't hit it hard enough. So good line, maybe 30 feet now. So tough putt to hole, but I've been holing a few. No, a little short on pace. All right, another par. Dreams of 29 are over, I guess. That's okay, we're still 4 under. I think the most important part though is just follow how I'm trying to play these holes, follow my thought process. Hope I'm doing a good enough job of like explaining those things. And if you have any questions about anything in particular to do with the way I'm playing the course, the way I'm thinking about the course, the way you should do it, just drop a comment and I'll respond and give you whatever advice I got. All right, here we are on hole 17, tricky par 3, 210 yards to the middle. And we're not even like all the way back. That tee's shut today, so it would be like 230 or 240 from back there. But basically, as you can see on this map, really the only trouble is this bunker, the short left here. Everything on the right kind of will kick down and will work towards the pin. So I know before I said I like to shape it away from the trouble. In this instance, that bunker's the trouble, but I have that slope on the right. So I'm gonna hit a draw that if it hits that slope on the right, has more chance of just like bouncing down onto the green. And that's the way I see this kind of shot. It's very similar to the second shot that I hit on 10, where I hit that fade kind of up the alley. I want to do the same thing, but with a draw here and kind of bounce it down the slope. So I think that is probably the most important note here, is that I'm using the contours to my advantage. I got a 6-iron, that goes 205, we got 210, but it's Palm Springs in August. It's like 115 degrees out here, so it's gonna go a little further. All right, one of the most important parts here, I'm actually gonna hit quite a big shape. I really wanna work it down the contours of the green. So when you're gonna hit a big shape or you're trying to avoid trouble, give yourself the room, right? Like aim way right, make sure that ball hooks. Don't be aiming straight. I'm gonna hit a little draw here. A little draw is too close to like a little fade, which could hurt you or anything like that. I like to aim, give myself the room, hit a big draw, and make sure that ball's moving right to left. So that's what I'm gonna do here. Should bounce down to the left, which is kind of what you want to do here. So that draw, make sure that the ball's moving right to left, and it makes sure that when it hits the ground, it's continuously moving towards the pin. That's super important. Okay, once again, from 210, this is a pretty solid spot. I've got maybe 25 feet, moving very hard right to left. Once again, we'll come up here, check out the grain. The grain, as you can probably see, is kind of on this side. I mean, it's a downhill putt, which we know that. It's definitely moving hard right to left as well. You guys will probably see me do this thing where I like cross my hands and I flip back over. I get questions about that all the time. And that is basically, I'm just leveling out my shoulders and then I just switch my hands back. That's all I'm doing there. It looks probably a bit more complicated than it actually is. But yeah, it's pretty basic. Stop leaving them short. Oh well, another par. Tough hole though. I would take 3 on a 210 yard par 3 any day of the week. We are on the 18th hole. It is a hot afternoon now. When we started this round it was okay. It's now bloody hot, so I'm excited to be done. Not for you guys though, of course. I love being here. All right, we have the 18th hole. As you can kind of see on this map, we've got some water involved here. So this is going to be a little different. I need to hit a club that I make sure is going to come short of this water, which is at 338, so that'll be completely fine with driver for me. So I can go ahead and rip driver. But the more left I get it here, the better angle of my second shot. So once again, this goes back to working back from the green. Check out the pin, check what angle you need, aim accordingly. For me, I'm gonna aim a little bit harder up to left just to give myself that angle to that middle pin, which will give me more green to work with. But other than that, there's a pretty wide open tee shot, 470 yards, and let's see what we can do with it. So this is a tee shot that I would normally hit a draw. Like, it suits the draw shape, especially to get it up the left-hand side. My swing, if I'm being completely honest with you, feels like garbage today. I know I'm 4 under or something, and maybe people would laugh at that, but yeah, it feels like late and a little under and all that sort of stuff. But that's okay, nobody cares, so we deal with it. So I'm gonna hit a fade because that's what I'm more comfortable with. I hit that off the shaft of the club. That has gone 270 yards, but I know how to miss it. So I'm missing it really well, and I missed that one really well. So I'll have a long shot, but it'll be in the fairway. All right, well, I didn't hit that out of my own shadow. I probably thought I was gonna have maybe 140 in here. I've got 180, so that's good. I've got 7 iron. So here's a good, here's a tough shot, a very tough shot. I've got water to deal with on the right. That green's angled at me this way. So I think it's important to know that as a right-hander, this is kind of a tricky green shape because a push is your weaker shot. So that's gonna go shorter. So if that's right, it'll come up short, it'll go in the water. But a pull is your strong shot. So if I pull it, it will go long of the green. So there's something to think about there. It's like, if I had to miss this shot, how am I gonna miss it? Pick a club accordingly, all those sorts of things. So for me on this one, it's a little under a 7 iron number. I need to take a little bit off. I'm gonna give myself room on the left, hopefully hit a big enough shape to take off some of that distance and settle it in there next to the hole. Finish off a good 9 well. Nope. So I fatted that in the bunker. That, don't think you can really play for just bad golf shots, which I've hit a couple in the last few holes. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing to do there. It was online. At least I didn't hit it in the water, but yeah, that was just fat and terrible. So yeah, once again, super compact bunker. I need to adjust a little bit better here. In order to get out of the compact bunker a little better, you just get the heel into the ground, so I'll lower my hands. But certainly need to do a little bit better job than the last one. So. Bad, not good, just kind of in between. Probably would have been okay if the greens were a little faster, but it just dug a little bit, so test it for par. Okay, hopefully the last putt of today. I kind of started really hot and come home in an ambulance, but shouldn't say that, I haven't made a bogey yet, but I kind of bumped around a little bit, but no good. So that's a bogey. I hope you guys learned something today. I really want to make these videos kind of informative, help you guys learn more than anything. If you want to hear more on my thoughts on how I play holes and stuff like that, I obviously provide a little bit of insight to that too, but the purpose of these videos is to teach you guys different things. So drop in the comments if you have any questions, if you need any clarification on any of the points that I said out there. If you want more videos like this, drop me some ideas as well. I'm happy to do any sort of informative instructional videos to go along with all the matches and fun stuff that I'll do. So hope you guys enjoyed this, hope you guys learned a thing or two, and be sure to like and subscribe and come back for the next video.